There are certain movies that absolutely go and define a generation, and in 2008, one of those movies released, in The Dark Knight. Yes, it was a sequel to Batman Begins, but far more, this was a film that quite frankly transcended expectations and beliefs on what a superhero movie could be like.
Freeze! Stand down! You really...
And it is revered as one of, if not the greatest superhero movie of all time. Not the least of which was because of its incredible cast that brought all the characters to life. So given that, allow us to show you the Dark Knight cast, then and now. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Aaron Eckhart. I believe in Harvey Dent. It's those words that fans knew would backfire on the character portrayed by Aaron Eckhart when he got cast in The Dark Knight.
That's funny. Because I don't know what's gonna happen to you either.
The rise and fall of Harvey Dent was a key part of that film, and Eckhart's performance in the film was key to the success of the picture. But as for his own success post-Dark Knight, it's not as grand as you might think. Yes, he has been in big movies after it, including Battle Los Angeles, Olympus Has Fallen, and its sequel, Sully and Midway, but you could argue that while he was in those films, they were hardly star-driving, and unlike many others on this list, his star power kind of peaked after Dark Knight. That's not to say he wasn't or isn't a good actor. He clearly is, but his roles haven't been as numerous as others in the film, and that includes Morgan Freeman. It's almost hilarious to talk about Morgan Freeman and where he is then and now because it's Morgan Freeman. This is a guy who has done it all in terms of success, being on both TV and film and beyond, and while he was in the Dark Knight trilogy, you can't really say that it was the highlight of his career because he's had a lot of highlights. Seriously, both before and after that trilogy, he had a range of successes that make him one of the most amazing people to ever grace Hollywood. But in terms of success post-Dark Knight, there are some things that stand out, including him doing his own TV series called Through the Wormhole, where he and others discuss the mysteries of life and the universe.
And are discovering that gravity may not be what it seems to be.
He's been in various other franchises, including the Fallen films, where he starred alongside Gerard Butler, and was even in the Lego Movie. Because why not? Morgan Freeman is a national treasure, and all his roles are special in their own way. So wherever he shows up next will be great, no doubt. Gary Oldman. If you were to go and list some of the biggest actors in the realm of Hollywood right now who can do all sorts of great roles, Gary Oldman more than likely would be someone you would put near the top of that list. But by the time he got to be James Gordon in The Dark Knight, his stature in Hollywood was not the best. Granted, he had big roles before then, and even the year before Batman Begins, he got cast as Sirius Black in the Harry Potter franchise. But many would agree that the Dark Knight trilogy elevated him to top movie star status in many ways. After The Dark Knight, Oldman started to get a lot of roles in a lot of major films, from animated ones like in A Christmas Carol, which featured Jim Carrey, to The Book of Eli, starring Denzel Washington, and then there was Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, where Oldman not only got praised for his role of George Smiley, but got nominated for his performance. His award status would carry over heavily when he got cast as the role of Winston Churchill in The Darkest Hour. He was so good in the role that he got nominated and won the award for Best Actor by both the Oscars and the Golden Globes. And he was nominated by them again for the 2020 film Mank. He's got other films in the works right now, and as you can hopefully see, he's likely not going anywhere. Christopher Nolan. While technically not a cast member, Christopher Nolan was absolutely an instrumental part of the Dark Knight trilogy, being its director and its co-writer. Many forget that it was Nolan who approached the Warner Bros. To ask to do the film. He wanted to root it in the real world and focus on the origins of the character and the darkness of the drama that comes from being that character. After the success of both Begins and The Dark Knight, and later The Dark Knight Rises, Nolan became a mainstay director in Hollywood. And while he never touched superheroes again as a director, he did continue to put his spin on various other genres, and many of his films post-Batman have been big hits. Arguably the best example of this is the film Inception, a mind-bending film about reality and the mind, and featured an all-star cast including Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy, whom the film was his breakout role and later led to him being Bane. Fast forward to 2014, and the next Nolan film was Interstellar. It was a bit different to say the least, but it got a lot of attention and buzz, and revenue, so you can't fault Nolan for going big on that one. After that came the film Dunkirk, about World War II, and then in 2020, in the midst of the global pandemic, he released the spy/time-warping thriller Tenet. As for what he will do next, that's up to him, as he basically has the clout to do anything he wants now, and that's due in large part to The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger. It's with a very heavy heart that we talk about Heath Ledger, but when you discuss The Dark Knight, you absolutely can't forget to talk about his performance as the Joker, which was not only praised by fans and critics, but won him posthumous awards. The irony of the success of his Joker role is that when he was cast as the Joker, no one thought he would do well, a verse that was similarly sung for the man who played Batman in the trilogy, mainly because his biggest films around that time were A Knight's Tale, Brokeback Mountain, and 10 Things I Hate About You. So for that man to go and do Joker seemed ludicrous, but he delved deep into the role of the character, so deep in fact that it was said he locked himself in a room alone for long periods of time to truly get into the mindset of the Joker character that he wanted to play. The results spoke for themselves, as he went and owned the screen that he was on and sent chills down the spines of those who watched. Sadly, he died before the film was even released, and the acclaim for the role would never reach his ears. However, as noted, he won many awards for the role, and many still say it's one of the best Joker portrayals ever done. Christian Bale. It's only fair and logical that we do Christian Bale last, not only because he was Batman, but because his career absolutely soared after being cast as Batman. Because before Batman Begins, Christian Bale was a known actor, but not the most famous or even beloved actor. He had hits like The Mechanist and American Psycho, but it wasn't enough to push him into the mainstream. But when he became Batman, all that changed, especially in The Dark Knight. His performance was praised, and some even felt he should have been nominated for Best Actor. After the movie arrived and its success boomed, Christian Bale became one of the must-have actors in film, which worked out well for him more times than not. Sure, he did have some bombs like with Terminator Salvation, but he also had major critical hits like The Fighter, where he dropped all that Batman muscle to play a thin boxer, Dickie Eklund, and he won both a Golden Globe and an Oscar for his performance. Then, after The Dark Knight Rises, his own star continued to rise, like when he did the acclaimed film American Hustle, which got him another nomination for Best Actor. His roles continued from there, and then in 2018, he did another award-winning role in the movie Vice, when he went and portrayed former Vice President Dick Cheney. Add to that the movie Ford vs. Ferrari and an upcoming role in the Marvel film Thor: Love and Thunder, and you can see exactly why he is the best success story from The Dark Knight. He's a man who can do just about any role if you give him the time to prepare, and while he may not be the nicest guy around, he's the one you're going to want on your cast to perform a big part. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think of this look at the cast that made The Dark Knight such a major hit, and the success both big and small that they got afterward? Were you surprised by some of the success that some of these actors got? Which ones were you surprised didn't get more attention after the Dark Knight trilogy ended? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.